So when you start learning how to play the guitar, it can be quite intimidating. There's a lot of information out there, and the sheer amount of information available can sometimes feel slightly overwhelming. It's very easy to feel like you need to learn every single thing possible before you can actually play anything. But that's not always the case. You can actually play some classic songs with just a little bit of knowledge and just a few chords. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this lesson today. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 5 songs that use just 4 chords. So the songs in this lesson use just 4 chords per song. And as a new guitar player, that's really useful because it means you can learn just a few simple things and actually put that into practice and play some songs. It actually makes the goal of playing the song a little bit more obtainable. Now, some of these are going to be simplified versions of the full song. So when you play these along with the actual track, you may notice that there's some additional complexities on the actual studio recording. I've simplified them for the purpose of this video. This lesson is brought to you in partnership with musicradar.com. So down below in the description of this video, you will find a link over to the Music Radar website, and that will take you through to an article that I've written to accompany this lesson. Inside that article, you're going to find all the information we talk about in this video, as well as some tips on the song structures and all the chord diagrams used in the video as well. So please check that out because that is a very useful addition to this video lesson. All right, so the first song I'm going to show you is the Green Day song, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. The 4 chords used in this song are G, C add 9, D, and E minor. To accompany those 4 chords, we've got this strumming pattern. Now that sounds pretty quick and it sounds like it could be complicated, but it's actually quite a simple rhythm. If we break that down, what we're doing is down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. It's a pretty repetitive phrase. If we count that, it's going to be 1 and a, E and a, 3 and a, E and a. So we're skipping over playing on the 2nd and 4th beats. We're just focusing on those notes in between the beats. 1 and a, E and a, 3 and a, E and a. Once we put that together with the chords and the right speed, so really your hand's just going to be going continually in that one rhythm. Now when you listen to the studio version of this song, you will hear some slight variations on that. That's completely normal. When you're strumming an acoustic guitar, there's always going to be a slight rhythmic variance in what you play, but that's roughly the rhythm you're going to aim for the majority of the song. Now when we put that together with the chords to make the song, we've got a couple of different segments to go through. So the intro is going to go like this. So what I'm doing here is a full bar on the G chord. And then the next bar I'm splitting between the C add 9 and the D chord. That's just repeated twice. So it's a full bar of G and then a bar split between C add 9 and D. Once you've got that idea in your head, the rest of the song is going to be pretty straightforward. That was a little bit slower than the record, so this is that part up to full speed. Don't worry if you can't play that at full speed straight away. Focus on getting that rhythm tight and then build the speed up gradually. Now we're going on to the verse. The verse actually starts with another 2 repeats to that. And then the second half of the verse, we're actually starting on the E minor here. The first part is a split between the E minor and the D. So it's going to be 1 and a, E and a, 3 and a, E and a. And then the same thing then from the C add 9 to the G. We're doing that twice at full speed. So those two parts combined make up the verse. So this is how you play the verse in full. Then we go on to the chorus. This is a 3-bar chorus. The first 2 bars are split between the E minor and the G. And then the 3rd bar is E minor to D. Now that actually sounds slightly incomplete because straight after that D chord, what we're then doing is we're actually playing the intro twice more, which kind of resolves the whole chorus. So when you play just those 6 bars on their own, they kind of feel like they don't finish fully. That's because we go straight back into the G, C add 9, D part twice more. So here's how the chorus sounds in full with the instrumental part that follows it. So from here on in the song, we now actually just repeat parts that we already know. So it goes into another verse, which is the same as the first verse, another chorus, which is the same as the chorus we just learnt. Then we have a middle instrumental section. So this is going to be 2 repeats of the intro followed by a complete instrumental play through the verse. That feeds into another chorus. Then we have another 2 bars of G, C add 9 to D, like the intro. Then we have the final chorus, and then that goes into the G, C add 9, D phrase twice more and finishes up on a G chord. So that is the full song. The full order of this can also be found over in the write-up as well. So please click that link down below to get that full song order as well. The second song we're going to learn is Save Tonight by Eagle Eye Cherry. Now this is a great one because aside from the 4 chords, we need to learn 1 rhythm, and that just repeats for the entire song. So the 4 chords we're going to be using here are A minor, F major. You can also play this as a full bar chord F if you feel comfortable doing so. C major and G major. And the rhythm that we need to learn for this song goes like this. So what we're doing here is 1 and 2 and a. So that's down, 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 up. 1 and 2 and a. Then we're going 3 E and 4 and a. Down, up, down, 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 up. Then we put those together and we get this. Now that sounds quite complicated, but just start slow with that rhythm. Get the feeling for playing that at this kind of speed. One and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and a. That is going to take a little bit of practice if you're new to more complex rhythms. So then we're going to start adding the chords to this. So each bar is going to be split into 2 chords. So the first bar is going to be the A minor to the F. And the second bar is going to be the C to the G. We're changing on that 3rd beat as well. So if I play that rhythm in full with the muting technique that I'm going to be doing as well, which I'll show you in a moment, it's going to sound like this. So each bar is 2 chords. So that first bar is going to be A minor, 1 and 2 and a. Then to the F, 3 E and 4 and a. So I would recommend getting used to playing this strummed first of all, like so. And then the second half is going to be the same thing with C to G. Once you can get that under your fingers, then you can start doing the muting technique you need to actually make it sound like the original. So what we're doing here is something called palm muting. We're taking the soft part of our hand and we're resting it along here on the bridge where the strings come over the bridge saddle. That gives you this kind of sound. It sort of deadens the strings but retains the pitch. So when we're playing that A minor chord, what we're doing here is we're playing the lowest couple of notes of the chord on the one and. We're hitting the two without the mute, and then the ander is muted again. Like that. When we go to the F, it's the 3 E and that are muted, the 4 is unmuted, and then the ander is muted. So when you're doing this, don't worry if it sounds a little bit loose, because this has quite a loose feel. It's not a really precise exact science in this, as long as you get that vibe. You can hear how that just helps it sound a little bit more like the original version of the song. And then the exact same thing is true on the C to the G. So, like I said, don't worry too much about making that an exact thing. It's just a bit of a vibe thing that you go with. So if I play that slowly, it's going to sound like this. And then at full speed. Once you can do that, you can play the whole song, because this just repeats for the entire duration of the track. The third song we're going to learn is Zombie by the Cranberries. This is a great fun one, and it's really easy to play. We're using one chord progression and one rhythm all the way through, but there is a slight change towards the end. The 4 chords we're using for this are E minor, C, G, and then this chord, which is called a D over F sharp. This chord is just a regular D major chord, but my thumb is coming over the top and playing the 2nd fret on the low E, which is an F sharp note, and it's also muting the A string. The rhythm for this is really simple. It's just this. 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a down, 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 up, down, 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 up. So we're going to be using that rhythm pretty much throughout the song, and the chord progression is actually those chords in order. 1 chord per bar, 1 bar of E minor, 1 bar of C, 1 bar of G, 1 bar of D over F sharp. It's going to sound like this. So you're pretty much sticking with that chord progression all the way through up to the end of the 2nd chorus. Then we go into an instrumental section of the song. Now, technically speaking, the guitar actually drops out for the most part here. The bass is the kind of predominant instrument at this point in the song. But what we're doing is we're sticking to that same rhythm, but we're just going between E minor and C. That carries on through the little instrumental section. Then there's a build up to a guitar solo, which goes back to the main chord progression. Then after the guitar solo, we have an outro section, which goes back to the E minor to C change over and over again until ending on an E minor chord. And that is the full song. That's the only little change after the 2nd chorus, but for the most part, it's that standard progression all the way through with the same rhythm. All right, the 4th song we're going to learn is She Will Be Loved by Maroon 5. Now for this one, I've got a capo on the 3rd fret of the guitar. So all the chords that we play are relative to the capo position. So I'm using an A minor chord, a G, a C, and an F. So you're going to be playing those 4 shapes relative to the capo. So there's a couple of different rhythms in this song. For the intro and the verse, we're going to be using a rhythm that simulates the rhythm of the finger-picked main guitar part from the original version of the song. But rather than finger-picking this, we're going to be doing a rhythmic interpretation with chords. And then there's a much straighter part then that comes in for the chorus and some of the other sections. So first of all, the intro rhythm we're going to be playing is going to sound like this. So this rhythm is actually a 2-bar rhythm. So for the first half, we're actually pretty much playing on the beat, but that second bar, we're actually moving to an offbeat structure, and we're actually changing chords in between that as well. So it's a bit of a tricky one to get started with. The rhythm sounds like this without any chords. So what I'm doing here is I'm going 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm skipping over the 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and but then I go into the second bar, and that's also going to be and 4, and. So I'm not playing on the beat at all in the second bar other than the 4th beat. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. That's the rhythm I'm going to be using for the intro and the verse, but when it comes to the chords, I'm actually going to be doing A minor to G, but I'm actually changing to the G chord on the and of 4, so it's going to be like this. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So spend a little bit of time with that, because that part actually makes up quite a big part of the entire song. So you really want to make sure you nail that rhythm, because that's a very important part to the whole structure of the song. When we then get to the chorus, we're actually straightening the rhythm out a little bit. The chorus part goes like this. So that's the first chorus of the song. The rhythm of that is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and again, it's 1 bar per chord. So here we're playing a bar of C, a bar of G, a bar of A minor, and then a bar of G. Then it goes C, G, A minor, F, same structure. And then it repeats that bit once more, C, G, A minor, F. So there are 2 parts to the chorus on the actual track. There's the bit that you could also perceive as being a pre-chorus, and then there's the actual She Will Be Loved hook. That only happens once on the first time, which is over that final C, G, A minor, F. That gets repeated more times on other choruses. So after that chorus, you go into the second verse, so you're back to that original rhythm. Then you have another chorus, but we're doubling up on that last bit. So that C, G, A minor, F part, we're actually playing 3 times technically. The first time is an extension of the first part of the chorus, then the hook comes in, but this time we're repeating that hook twice. So then we come to a bridge section of the song, and for this part we're keeping the same rhythm as the chorus, but we're just going back and forth between the A minor and the G chord 4 times, and on the final time we play the F chord once and let that ring. And that makes up the whole song. Now, the two main tricky things for this song is, number one, getting used to that slightly different rhythm that you're going to be playing in the intro and the verse. And the second thing is the structure, because the first chorus is actually slightly shorter than the rest of the choruses. So take your time listening to this one, make sure you've got all those parts in order. And as I mentioned, hit the link down below in the description. You'll find the written accompaniment to this lesson, which has a lot more information about that stuff as well. So use that in tandem with this video to learn this song. All right, and the fifth and final song we're gonna learn is I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. Now for this one, I've got a capo on the 2nd fret, and we are using 4 chords here, but there is actually a surprise 5th chord in this one, which only comes up a couple of times. So it's not really part of the main progression, it's just a little bit of an outlier that gets thrown in from time to time. So the 4 chords we're gonna be using here are A, E, we're gonna be using F sharp minor, and D major. Now the extra chord that's thrown in is this B7 chord. We're only going to be using that from time to time, so don't worry about that right away. So rhythmically, this song actually has a bit of a blues shuffle kind of vibe to it. So we're going to be playing this sort of thing. If you're new to playing guitar, counting shuffle rhythms can be quite tricky. So at this stage, I'm going to say don't worry about counting this one. Just think about the sound and the motion of what I'm doing. So each chord that I play, I'm playing 2 lower notes and then 2 higher notes. Listen to the pulse of that. I'm not playing that straight, I'm going. You can hear that slight drag on some of those notes. Just try and emulate that rhythm as best you can, and then when you start putting the chords to it, it makes a lot more sense. So the verse and the progression that we're actually going to be using for most of the song is actually going to sound like this. Now because it's a shuffle, it's quite loose, so you don't have to be super precise with this as long as you're getting that shuffle vibe. That's actually what you're going to be doing for the majority of the song. So for most of the verses and choruses, it is going to be that progression, A, E, F sharp minor to D. Now you will notice on the first 2 hits of each chord, I was actually doing that palm muted thing we talked about earlier on in the lesson, and then I'm doing 2 full hits of the chord. You almost want to emphasize the first and third hits. So it's hit, hit as like our emphasis notes. And those ones in between kind of just drag back a little bit. That's what gives it that shuffly feel. So each bar is just going to be 4 hits like that on each chord. So you're going to be playing that rhythm exactly like that all the way up to the end of the 2nd verse. Now at the end of the 2nd verse, this is the first instance where that B7 chord appears in the song. So what happens is right before we go into the 2nd chorus, we play that exact same progression, but we do this in the end. So that B7 chord comes in, you strum it and you hold it, and then the 2nd chorus starts up straight back to where you should be with the main rhythm. After the 2nd chorus, we go into a bridge section, and this is a slightly different rhythm now. We're actually going a little bit straighter for this. The bridge section goes like this. So here I'm going 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and I'm still playing with a little bit of a shuffly swing to this as well though. But now we're playing 2 chords per bar for the first couple of bars. So it's A to E, 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a. Then it's F sharp minor to E, a full bar of D, and a full bar of B7. So together. You'll notice I'm muting a lot in this section as well. It's quite a percussive part of the song. The second time we do exactly the same thing, but the way we end on the B7 is slightly different. We sort of just build that B7 up and open it up until we leave one hang like that, and then back into a chorus, back to that main rhythm that we already know. That main rhythm repeats all the way through to the end of the song, and then the only other change then is at the end of that final chorus, we once again strum that B7 chord. And that's the end of the song. That is Jason Mraz's I'm Yours. So there you go, there are 5 songs that contain just 4 chords each, other than that last one which does have that cheeky 5th chord as well. Let me know down below in the comments how you guys got on with learning these songs and what your favourite 4 chord songs are. Don't forget to check out that link in the description that takes you over to the Music Radar website. Like I said, there is an article that I wrote to accompany this lesson. It's a great learning aid. It's got a little bit more information about the structures and all the chord boxes used as well. So please use that when you're learning these songs. Don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. I'm looking forward to hearing how you guys got on with these songs and what 4 chord songs you think are great ones to learn as well. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you very soon.